Hey everyone, this is HighZealot here and welcome to E-7 of the Spring 2016 event. This is the final map of the 2016 event and one of the hardest maps I have ever faced. Maybe the hardest map in fact. So the fleet I'm bringing along for shipping is arguably not the best way to actually ship the boss. So you can see here I'm bringing a carrier task force. Also, you also have land-based bombers for this one. So but first of all, let's talk about my carrier task force. So for my carrier task force, I'm pretty much bringing enough for air supremacy, except for the following nodes. So I do not have enough AS for air supremacy on node A, because node A you need pretty much almost 800. Node L, that's also not gonna get air supremacy because you need over 770. But on the boss, getting air supremacy is a lot more manual involved, but it's still difficult. In hindsight, the carrier task force was not the best idea, because getting air supremacy is not the easiest feat and you sacrifice a lot of bombers trying to do so. But it did end up working for me. But the difficulties you face using this type of fleet, because so you see here node A, you got the twin blue-eyed white dragons, or the blue-eyed woes. And they're gonna fuck your day up along with that N class heavy cruiser if you're not lucky. They're super deadly, so that's one problem. So the upside of bringing a carrier task force is since you only have 2 battleships, this is not the greatest upside, but if you don't have lots of skilled leveled up equipment, that does mean you only have to bring 4 big guns instead of the 8 big guns you would have for a surface task force, which you may have find yourself having difficulty picking the correct guns because you didn't level them up. But that's the one advantage, and it's not really an advantage to say the least. So, your escort fleet, you're gonna have anti-air cut, and the escort fleet is relatively similar for surface task force. In fact, it might be similar completely. So, but otherwise, let's go back to what's going on right now. So you can see there node C was a active branch node. So you can go to node D or go to node F. You never want to go to node D. No, just don't. Never click node D also, yeah, there's that. So node D has pretty much lots of deadly enemies, lots of so let me just say it's not that well not a lot of information that I can see right now, but know this, you need over 528 for air superiority. Air supremacy, you need 1000, more than 1000. You would get fucked if you went to that node. Then you have this node, which is a lot more easier to deal with. You see, you just get air supremacy right there. The boss gets fucked up right there. Node F is the ideal node. Granted, node F you might go to node I, so you might go south, which I don't think you'll see. But so you can either go to node H or node I. Node H you go north, you get air rated. Node I, that's an active branch, and then it's just pretty much an extra node. That's pretty much what it. You go south. For your land-based bombers, one advantage of having a carrier task force is your land-based bomber. You have a shorter distance to deal with. So, how land-based bombers work is the distance. The range depends on your starting position. So you start from a carrier task force. The quickest route to the boss is just 6 nodes. For surface task force, the quickest route is 7 nodes. And so, doesn't matter what route your fleet takes, but it matters what the shortest route is. So for a carrier task force, your land-based bombers, you can bring better fighters with lower range, pretty much. So, and other than that, though, carrier task force doesn't have. I don't think it really have much other advantage. You do afford some difficult nodes in the surface task force route, but in return you face arguably worse nodes. So land-based bombers for this, there's been a lot of different setups you can take on the boss. You can take 2 fighters, 2 bombers, 1 fighter, 3 bombers, 1 fighter, 3 bombers. You can try 3 fighters, 1 bomber, 2 fighters, 1 bomber, just lots of fighters in general, and then put everything in your final. There's a lot of potential different you can take. Seems currently what most people seem to go with now is bringing the hard mode, I think the hard mode only, interceptor, the Type 3 fighter Hien, or yeah, I think yeah, them onto the you see onto the final in the final airbase and have them I believe help out. Not exactly sure what intercept stat does, but it feels like maybe it helps your land base not take as much damage. So when your land base does get hit, there's a number of different effects that can happen. With that kind of damage, you're gonna get affected somewhat. You're gonna maybe lose some fighters on your top slot. I think it only affects your top slot number in your top slot. It can affect morale, supposedly, performance. So when you see the red pop up after the land raid, your land base get raided, it means something happened. Don't really know what each potential thing means. If you see orange, it means you successfully defended, even if you didn't do anything to defend. So you can see here, node L. Biggest reason why you don't want to bring a carrier task force, you gotta deal with double York time. You don't want to deal with this. And then, yes, you're gonna probably have Fleet Command Facility, but you're only gonna have pretty much 2 destroyers. The one destroyer gets tie-hub, and the other destroyer gets knocked to medium damage, or they both get knocked to medium damage. They can't escort anyone back. And the Yorktowns, in total, that's 2 Yorktown attacks on your escort fleet, and up to 4 Yorktown attacks on your main fleet. Could be less though, because you can disable them, because they still follow normal carrier rules in day battle. In raid battle, just ignore the rules, like a piece of shit. But yeah, that's you don't want to take north route. There's also the the 2 class light cruisers with their anti-air cannons screwing up your bombers. So you're gonna be taking bomber losses here. So you just really don't want to deal with Node L pretty much. Your model classes are gonna get fucked. Your armored carriers are gonna get fucked as if they're not an armored carrier at all. It arguably may just not be an armored carrier regardless of what route you take. So yeah, that's the carrier task force route. Yeah, I mean, you make it a boss. You make it the boss. You're still heavily dependent on what your land base does, your land-based squadrons do, not what your fleet does. From what your fleet does, especially on your escort fleet, because they're going to be the ones who are going to be doing stuff in a battle. In fact, when you think about it, carrier task force is even worse in that regard, because your escort fleet gets fucked up first by more attacks, because hopefully your surface your main fleet would sink at least some sort of something. But then with an escort fleet, they deal with it first, they take more attacks, presumably, then they get fucked up and your night battle is screwed. And then, yeah. Now, the boss herself is, you would think if you look at her HP, she's not as bad as E6, but then you consider how much damage she takes. She doesn't get one-shotted like E6, unfortunately, so you're gonna have trouble there. That's no she's. She's the E6 boss, Central Princess, but damage. So, one thing to know, if you're using Kanko Viewer, if you're using battle info, it doesn't take into consideration the damage done by your land-based squadrons. So it's gonna pretty much, you're gonna be seeing potentially a destroyer with 40 HP in your battle info, but that probably just means they got killed by the land-based squadron, and it just doesn't know. Which is actually interesting because it makes you have some element of surprise, at least. Now, one thing you could then you have here, boss. So let's actually look at the boss. The boss, so there's a bit of lag from the game at some points here and there. But for the boss, so for air supremacy on the boss, before the final kill, as I said, you need 531, but that's only if you have Henderson. If you don't have Henderson, you just need 264 for air supremacy. Air superiority, you need 132. If you have Henderson formation, you need 266. Final formation is different, it's a static formation, and for final formation, the air supremacy and air superiority range is in between those two numbers. So, Central Princess, Central Hime is the same as before, takes the same extra damage against anti-installation type weapons. Tank also has some effect on her as well, I believe. I'm fairly sure it's a misconception that tanks don't work, and I'm fairly sure tanks do work. If you are using a carrier task force or in your carriers in your surface task force, I think you should bring torpedo bombers so they can attack the boss, because every bit of damage helps, and they can do maybe 50 damage to the boss per hit, and that's pretty significant. For your battleships, AP guns, arguably, I think AP guns are better because they still do lots of damage to the boss if they hit. And effectively, this is the northern route, the carrier task force route, the shitty route, which in hindsight was not the best route I could have taken. I ended up using completely and fully just carrier task force for shipping. I didn't switch to surface task force into the final kill, which I didn't even try using carrier task force in that situation, since I wanted to try out the HighZealot route, which didn't actually work up too well. But I'll get into more details later. So soon we're gonna be seeing so here from here on, yeah, now. This is the carrier task force, so I did try using just one standard carrier and 4 battleships, but that didn't work out too well for me. As you can see here, this is my airbase setup. It's pretty standard, I think. So, but yeah. So I should have mentioned this earlier, but you need a Kitsushima to have a better run to the boss, and you do need to equip her with her big planes. Taitei, and also you can might as well use the Catalina to pretty much make it to the boss, because it's supposed to increase your chances of going from node J south to node M and not to the double Yorktown node. So one thing to note for service task for your first node is submarines. Yeah, it's more luck based, same as pretty much every submarine node, except this one is arguably worse because these are all just fucking horrible submarines to deal with, and so you're probably gonna have a number of retreats from this node. So you see here, I mentioned HighZealot route. It's a route, but I ran out of barrels, so that happened. So pretty much had to go with this, which arguably is better because then you can bring on full 4 battleships instead of having to have Kitsushima on your main fleet, HighZealot on your second fleet in the flagship position, because put in the flagship position for your escort fleet and your main fleet because they get hit less, and for your escort fleet it doesn't matter if your flagship's heavy damage, the steering wheel is sinking. If your main fleet flagship gets hit though, you're forced to retreat regardless of what you want. That was what she did. So Kitsushima did actually get knocked in the heavy damage once or twice in the main fleet, I think twice, and I've been forced to retreat because of that. So this was node B, submarine node. So I would say I still call it standard submarine node because it's echelon, which is they personally don't give us line ahead submarine nodes, but those are still the worst one of the worst submarines you can deal with. And now we have our land bases get screwed up. So I'm not sure exactly how the calculation works, but I think it's if they take maybe less than 1/4 H damage, you successfully defend. They all stay above like if they don't get like lightly damaged at all. I'm not sure how it works though. So here we have node E. Node E, I'm not sure what happens before you reach the final kill, but I know on the final kill you have to deal with the battleship Hime, and she, while it can be a threat, it's just one of her. And I have actually S-ranked, not just S-ranked, but perfect S-ranked this node before, surprisingly. So, not that big of a threat, though it's still I would say, after the submarine node, which is just rolling dice, this is the biggest threat you can have on this route, because of the battleship Hime throwing your days up. Because you know she is pretty much a fucking battleship. She is a battleship, but she fucks your day up if she gets lucky. And then afterwards, after this node, you have node G, which we're not there yet because we're still watching this. So, we're talking about the equipment I have set up. So, for my Yamato class battleships, I pretty much just gave them the most accurate guns I could give them. And then for I gave my E-7 class the best guns I could give them without that's like also skilled and accurate. Bismarck gets her standard 38cm Kai guns. Those are her. It's always going to be equipped on her if she's in the fleet. And then Yamato gets some whatever's most accurate that's left, because they're going to be above. They're going to have lots of firepower regardless, and you want them to be accurate, not missing everything. That's my equipment there. For my carriers, I'm according to WikiWiki. For node J, so that's the air raid node in the middle. Node J, you're supposed to be able to get air supremacy if you have just an air superiority of 432, which is a lot. So you pretty much, since you're going to be either using 2 light carriers or 1 fleet carrier, you may as well just go for air superiority on that node, and then try to go for air supremacy on the boss, which for the final kill, also yeah, that was a successful defend because that was orange. But yeah, in the boss you want to have at least 387 air power for air supremacy. And actually, now that I think about it, no you don't. So the way it works actually, so sorry for the misinformation there, but how it works is, so when your land-based bombers, they attack first, and they are gonna shoot down a lot of enemy fighters and a lot of enemy bombers on the way there. And then once it's your turn, you can see this in battle info using it. You're gonna see that instead of the standard gonna have hundreds and hundreds of bombers, they're gonna have like what, 10 bombers and 30 fighters, and their bombers are all gonna get shot down half the time, and you're gonna have air supremacy right there. Granted, I don't really know. It's hard to calculate how much fighters you need because of that, but then, so pretty much you just want base it off of node J, pretty much just get air superiority under that node. I guess you want 216 AS, and you should be fine. Unless maybe node G might need higher air superiority, maybe. I don't believe that is the case, but I could find it. Node G, yeah, node G you just need 104. So yeah, node base it off of node J, which as I said many times, 216. If you do want to aim for air supremacy on that node, but you really do not have to, because in my opinion, air raid nodes are not really a threat at all. They can get a lucky hit off at times, but they're like, it's not very likely. Submarine nodes in line abreast arguably probably has caused more retreats than this air raid node will ever have. So you don't need air supremacy, but if you really want it, you need 432, so you're probably not going to do it. So node J, this is from here on, so you can go to node K if you want, but I believe node K is just another submarine node. I'm not 100% sure on that, because I never go there. Because why would you when you got an easy air raid node right here? It's just not going to do anything. You know what I mean? Even without air supremacy, you're going to have times where you just shoot down all the bombers. Yes, it does happen. It doesn't happen that often, but happens often enough. And oh, you know, she was always damaged. She was already damaged, so what can you expect? Arguably the most frustrating times is when they get knocked to orange, but they're just one HP from heavy damage. Those are the most frustrating parts because they usually get knocked to heavy damage on the next node or the pre-boss node. In fact, it doesn't happen every time though, so always sends you adrenaline rushing, I guess, when you see that, because you never know. You're always worried that they're gonna cause you to retreat. On the final kill, I didn't bring a fleet command facility because arguably for this one you really need a full fleet to deal with this boss. This boss is tough. When you see our final formation, you're gonna see how tough. But for now, we have to deal with Node M. Some people have complained about being retreated on Node M because of the blue-eyed reclass heavy cruiser and class heavy cruiser also spread. But I don't think I've ever had problems on this node. Honestly, you bring in route support, they're gonna do pretty good damage to even kill the 3-class heavy cruiser like that. So arguably, you're not gonna really have a lot of problems on this node. So node E is gonna be your node E and node B are gonna be your -- source of retreat. At least that's what I had. And then since you're using carrier surface task force, your battleships are gonna be screwing them over first. So your destroyers and later ships are gonna be fine. And that's pretty much Node M. Node M is not really a big threat. Yes, you can probably get unlucky sometimes because that reclass heavy cruiser can do a lot of damage, and they should be able to one-shot a light carrier, but you shouldn't have a problem most of the time because like Pankel is rolling dice pretty much. But you have better odds at Node M than at Node E. Now, one reason you do wanna, if you have Kayasu and you have barrels, it is a long path to the boss, and if you bring it along, you get refilled, and it should help your evasion and firepower out. Unfortunately for me though, I ended up using all my barrels. In fact, I used my last barrels on the attempt right before this one. And it was also a very close attempt to kill the boss. The boss had like no HP left. Unfortunately, it just wasn't gonna be. But even if it was, I still would have used up all my barrels. I also used up a lot of rations, so when you see my equipment screen, you're gonna see some interesting things. But now, it's time to fight the boss one last time. I'm gonna shut up and let you just enjoy this. Enjoy.
まだやれるわね。これからよ。
溶けていく。あの暁の光に。私も世界も帰っていくのか。そうか。そうね。ありがとう。
In-game lag when Bismarck attacked, not a recording hiccup. And that's the boss! Oh, you know, with those clutch kills. Oh, you know, gets another kill to a con. Oh, you know, seems to be the MVP this time around. And yeah, it was honestly a big surprise seeing the battle info showing her at like negative something HP. Deserves the MVP right there. So, it was honestly quite a surprise because you saw heavy damage on pretty much all of them, but most of them were still alive, so you can see the problem there. But we're done with E-7. So on hard and medium you get a skilled pilot, and you on hard and medium you also get 2 medals. On easy you just get 1 medal, and that's all you get for easy. But arguably there's no reason to do medium if you don't do hard. And then here we go, Iowa.
Hi! Me ga Iowa 級戦艦 Iowa よ。You がこの艦隊のアドミラルなの？いいじゃない。私たちのこともよろしく。
Yeah, English. Really? Interesting English. It's funny now. I hope it stays funny to me and doesn't get annoying. But she's a very strong battleship. Now we just need Now we just need some Royal Navy, or even better, Canadian Royal Navy. That'd be nice. But that's E-7, and this is the Spring 2016 event completed. E6 and E7 was absolute hell. So was E5, really. And here's my equipment. So you guys are talking about guns, AP shells all the way, and you want minimum fighters for just air superiority, and then bombers. And you can see here, kind of surprised that my seaplane bombers didn't get all killed. And there's my equipment. It's pretty standard stuff. And Akisuki is just there. Bombers is the same thing. So your boss support is pretty much going to be the same as E6. Same thing there. and then you got your standard route and support for standard shelling, and that's easy strength. This is the whole event really. Now I got 6 hard medals, and you can see I used a lot of rations and barrels, as in I have no more barrels, and every single map done it hard. Honestly, it's a really good feeling to be done with this. Used a lot of resources. This is my, and then you have showing off my land-based squadrons here. Doesn't really matter. And then Iowa, and then also for E-7, one picking it up, they drop the trophy destroyer, as you can see there. Harukaze. She drops here. I ended up getting her from an A rank if I recall correctly, which is surprising. And yeah, Spring 2016 event done. One of the hardest events so far. But in a way, like other events which require a clutch torpedo cannon from Super Katakami-sama, here you gotta rely on clutch land-based or air support, and then clutch Hoyudo. Arguably though, it's harder than the clutch torpedo cannon, because you don't just need one clutch, you need multiple clutch hits. So it's base, I think, is the hardest, probably the hardest so far, because overall it's really hard, because E1 itself started pretty difficult. But yeah, feels good to be run though. Getting Iowa is nice. Iowa's pretty good. And what other allied ships will come next? Hopefully, I do want to see the Royal Navy. And maybe hell, maybe even a World War I event like the Battle of Jutland or the Dardanelles, but we'll find out next time. I'll see you guys then, and good night.